Welcome to TPM Vid's Disney Beat, where we talk about all things Disney. If you're new to the channel and like what you see, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. You can also find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Fantasmic is one of the most technically complex theatrical experiences at the Disney parks. Since the show is run through timecode, everything is meticulously timed and choreographed, but it's not uncommon for such a technical show to experience malfunctions. At both Hollywood Studios and Disneyland, there are so many contingencies in place that you may have never even noticed. Now, thanks to submissions from viewers like you, these Fantasmic malfunctions will help pull back the curtain on many Plan Bs in the show. If you've caught a fail or malfunction on camera, you can submit it to tpmvids.com for a chance to have it featured in a future video. So, get ready for a journey beyond your wildest imaginations as we count down 10 Fantasmic fails, malfunctions, and Plan B contingencies. Number 10. The crowd always goes wild as Mickey makes his appearance at the top of the show. But sometimes things don't always go to plan. Well, that's awkward. Without Mickey, the performance cannot go on, so stage management will stop the show to try and get the issue solved.
And may I have your attention, please?
They'll reset everything, and that usually solves the problem with the lift on the second time around. Now, when it's known ahead of time that the stage lift is broken, that's where the first contingency plan comes into play. This is how it works over at Disneyland. So the show starts without the beam lights out of the stage, and then Mickey makes the big appearance on the porch of the mill. Even though the searchlights distract the audience, you can still see Mickey emerge from the porch door, and then he's revealed by those spotlights. Although I wasn't able to track down any examples, I'm assuming there's a similar contingency plan at Hollywood Studios, where Mickey will just run on stage for the opening as well. Number 9. Fantasmic uses dozens of water fountains to help bring the show to life, and of course, there are times when they malfunction. So here in this comparison, you can see the big fountains in the front weren't working, as well as the stage left fountains that hug the perimeter of the stage. Now, fountains are one of those technical aspects that don't really have a contingency plan, and if there is a malfunction, they will temporarily stop the show to reset the fountains.
Good evening, and may I have your attention, please? Due to unforeseen circumstances, this performance of Fantasmic has been stopped. We hope to continue the show if circumstances permit, and we'll update you as soon as possible.
Anyone else think Mickey standing on a dark stage looks a little creepy? I mean, look at him. Another element that plays a big role in the show are the water screens. Not only are they used to project part of the story, but they also act as a barrier to hide the scene changes that are happening on stage.
No! Not another fail! No! No! What? What is that?
If the water screens malfunction and crews in the booth can't get them back up, they would also need to stop the show. Here at Disneyland, they actually got the mist screens working again without having to stop the show. This is the beauty of live theater. They will do whatever they can to quickly troubleshoot the problem without interrupting a performance. Number 8. Another moving part of Fantasmic are the barges. Whether you're at Disneyland or Walt Disney World, they're all filled with dancing monkeys or Disney royalty. You may think the barges are automated, but they're actually manually driven by drivers hidden under the platform.
Alright, here we are beneath the barge, and I got my steering wheel here, my 2 throttles, 1 for each engine. I got my running lights and my nav lights to direct me. I look out this mesh screen. I use the seawall lights during the show to hit my cues and go around the river.
Since these are free-floating vessels, there is very little room for error. Sometimes the barges bump into each other or even the wall. Keep your eye on this one. And there they go. It wasn't the hardest hit, but thankfully all the performers were safe and they eventually continued on. At Hollywood Studios, Fantasmic has 23 crew members plus 47 performers that bring the show to life. This does include 3 performers who are emergency standbys just in case something goes wrong. There are times though when the show is still down a performer or 2, but generally you don't really notice. One point in the show where it's glaringly obvious that a performer is missing is during the love and romance scene. One time when I saw the show, the only barges that came out were Snow White and Ariel. Belle's barge was missing, and since they can't cut any of the music, it was pretty obvious when Beauty and the Beast started to play. Usually if all 3 monkey barges made it out but one of the princess barges didn't, it usually means the show is down a performer and not that the barge malfunctioned. One way to verify is by checking the boat during the finale. For the show I saw, Belle was there but the Beast was missing. In this case, they just adjusted their spacing in front of the boat. And yeah, one of the contingencies for a missing prince is to not send that princess out solo. Sometimes they do get sent out solo, but if you ever see a barge is missing during Love and Romance, see if one of those characters still makes it onto the boat for the finale. Number 7. One moment that was cut from Fantasmic at Disneyland is the evil queen turning into the old hag. It's such a classic Fantasmic scene that thankfully still exists at Hollywood Studios. So how the transformation works is that the old hag is hidden in the cauldron at the start of the scene. It comes up the main stage lift with her inside. Then during the pyro and smoke, the old hag gets out of the cauldron and hugs the wall as the evil queen crouches down and places herself inside the cauldron. Then the old hag emerges on stage, completing the transformation. Usually the smoke and lights cover what's happening, but if the wind is blowing the right way, you're able to fully see it from the sides. It's a great effect, but sometimes it doesn't always go to plan. Well, her hair is definitely white. So what you just saw is actually the contingency plan for a missing old hag. The evil queen performer takes on the physical characterization of the hag, always making sure to keep her head down to hide her face. Now, in order for the contingency plan to work, the evil queen is always wearing the white wig under the headpiece just in case. Once she makes her way behind the cauldron, the hag gives the evil queen a tap on the legs to let them know that they're there. If the queen doesn't get a tap, they know for whatever reason the hag didn't make it inside the cauldron. I already mentioned that Fantasmic has a few performers on standby, but generally if Rafiki doesn't appear on stage during the jungle scene, then there's a good chance the old hag will be missing. The same performer covers both of these roles. In this case, it would have been known ahead of time that they were doing the contingency plan, but this isn't the only one. There's also a no cauldron contingency plan in the event that the lift is broken. In this case, the evil queen just stays center stage to do the entire scene without the cauldron and the old hag. Then when it comes to the transformation, she just turns around, whips off the headpiece, and continues the scene with the white wig. Number 6. Showstops at Fantasmic are sometimes a great opportunity to get a behind-the-scenes peek.
Wait, what? What's this?
It's so cute. They're all running away. Oh no, they gotta push away the head.
Fun fact, The door is actually 17 feet tall, which gives you a better perspective on the scale of this thing. Now, there are some people who think the snake is automated, but by now, you've probably realized that each piece has a performer inside. This is one of the darker scenes in the show since blacklight is used to illuminate the snake. So since the movement is not automated, you might be wondering, how do the performers make that perfect S shape while walking around in the dark? Well, it's all because that white squiggly mark on the stage. Since the performers can't really see anything in front of them, they need to look down and follow that white line until the head makes it to the X. The white paint on stage is illuminated by the black light, and that's how they maneuver perfectly every single time. Over at Disneyland, there is no guide on stage for Ka the Snake, but the scene has a lot more light. Also, each piece has mesh on the sides that allow the performers to see out. Now at Hollywood Studios, there is actually a contingency plan for the snake. If the stage is a bit wet from some rain, it'll just stand still and wiggle its head like it's doing here. This ensures all the performers stay safe so they can continue the show. Number 5. Fantasmic has many epic moments, but one of them is Mickey's battle with Maleficent. The water is engulfed in flames while Mickey uses all of his might to defeat the dragon. Now, here at Hollywood Studios, the dragon isn't as sophisticated as the animatronic from Disneyland. People like to refer to it as the head on a stick, which is pretty accurate, but most of the figure is controlled by hydraulics, with some performers manually puppeteering the wings. Well, in the event of the dragon malfunctioning, there's also a contingency plan B for the scene. They just use Maleficent in human form. So after her normal scene, the lift is brought down as soon as the water screens come up. During this time is when the dragon is pulled forward onto the stage. You can see its guide tracks right here. Now, there are two common ways this can go. First, the dragon malfunctions while it's being pulled out on stage. In this case, crews quickly enact the contingency plan and send Maleficent back up on the lift. Essentially, Mickey just battles her instead, but you can see here that with the dragon stuck, they try to conceal it with smoke. A lot of the times though, the performers know beforehand that the dragon will be out of the show, and in this case, Maleficent is just kept suspended in the air during the water screens. This contingency plan does have less lighting, but aside from that, nothing else really changes and Mickey still saves the day. Hopefully it turns out better than this though. Disneyland used to have this exact same contingency plan for when their dragon malfunctioned, but after its tragic fire back in 2023, Plan B became the permanent change for the scene. Because of that, now there's a Plan C, which we'll discuss next. Number 4. After Disneyland's dragon was engulfed in flames, there was major damage to Aladdin's magic carpet and the dragon, so both effects were cut from the show. No magic carpet was solved with Aladdin and Jasmine just running around the stage, but if Maleficent's lift malfunctions, they will switch the scene into Plan C. This contingency plan involves restaging the scene on the porch, beginning with Maleficent standing on a black box. The flames in the scene are pretty much the only thing that's cut, and then she just works the stage walking back and forth until she lights the rivers on fire. With the pyro going as she's getting defeated, it's most certainly not as epic, but I guess it gets the job done. There was a chunk of time recently when Mickey's stage lift and the Maleficent lift were both down, which led to a very stripped-down Fantasmic. During the same time, there were also some shows with zero fireworks for the finale. At this point, you don't really have much of a spectacular, do you? I mean, who would have known that after all these years, Hollywood Studios would end up having the better Fantasmic? Number 3. So here at Disneyland, Murphy the Dragon made it on stage but then broke down. If the same thing happens over at Hollywood Studios, usually it still has movement in the wings since those are controlled by performers. Now, if this was a malfunction where the dragon wasn't able to be pulled back and gets stuck on stage, there's a contingency plan for the finale sequence. All it is that the entire stage gets covered with the perimeter fountains to conceal the dead dragon. They even stay up during Sorcerer Mickey's conducting at the top of the mountain, all the way until he says some imagination. Now, since the stage lift Mickey uses is directly in front of the dragon, it wouldn't be safe to operate the lift. So, Mickey needs to quickly get into place for the next part of the contingency plan, which just involves him running on stage to deliver
some imagination, huh?
And then he runs back off. If you notice, the dragon was cleared from the stage by the end of the show, but the water curtain still came back for those final couple beats since everything was still in contingency mode. Number 2. Name a better feel-good moment than hearing the Fantasmic tune while all the characters pass by on the boat. It's such a classic moment, and here at Hollywood Studios, the finale uses Steamboat Willie, and the first contingency plan involves the streamers. Sometimes, if it's a very windy night, the streamers and streamer choreography is cut from the show, and the characters just walk and wave. Now, overall, the character boat is a very important sequence in the finale, but sometimes the boat breaks down or it's out for maintenance. This is when the contingency plan kicks in. Here, all the characters fill each layer of the stage while doing their usual streamer choreography. It works the same way at Disneyland, only sometimes it's with less characters since their stage is much smaller. Usually the performers will know beforehand that the boat is out of the show for the night and will have time to go over choreography and spacing. Because of the stage layout at Disneyland, it is a bit more difficult to see all the characters, which is why I think this plan works a lot better at Hollywood Studios. The staging and lighting is just a lot more visually appealing. Don't you agree? Number 1. At the end of the show, Sorcerer Mickey shows up on top of the mill at Disneyland and on top of the mountain at Hollywood Studios. Usually the finale goes off without a hitch, but it's another one with many different contingency plans. So if Mickey just doesn't appear on top, we can assume that the lift malfunctioned last minute and there wasn't enough time to trigger the contingency plan. If it is known beforehand that the top lift is broken, then Mickey just appears at the bottom of the stage in his tuxedo and does all the choreography. Over at Disneyland, they do the same thing, only it's Sorcerer Mickey on stage instead of Tuxedo Mickey. Then in terms of the bottom lift for Mickey's final line, sometimes it malfunctions last minute and Tuxedo Mickey doesn't appear at all. If it's known beforehand that the bottom lift is broken, then Sorcerer Mickey does his thing on top of the mountain and delivers the final line from up here. The same happens over at Disneyland.
Some imagination, huh?
And just like that, all of these contingency plans still allow that Disney magic to shine during Fantasmic. So have you ever experienced one of these contingencies while watching Fantasmic, or have you witnessed a malfunction? What was that experience like? I'd love to know. Leave a comment down below to start a conversation, and don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video.